Okay, we're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leisrealtalk. I'm doing this live stream in my new office studio. Do you guys like the wallpaper behind me? It's ancient Chinese landscape. I didn't realize how big the pattern uh, was until I put it on, and I realized from now on I can only wear solid color clothes because I could be lost in this wallpaper. But anyways, well, welcome. It's been what, a week, more than a week since I did my last live stream, so it took me a little while to set up everything. Lei is technically challenged, but here I am. I'm back. Okay. How's everyone doing? Good? Yes? People asking where is she? I was trying to figure out technical issues last minute. Okay. Anyways, I'm back. Now let's talk about this a hidden financial crisis that the Chinese banks um, are experiencing. And I don't think a lot of people have talked about this crisis. So I want to definitely mention it. I think it deserves a live stream discussion. So, a week ago, I think it's exactly a week ago today, it was Tuesday, Fitch Rating downgraded six largest Chinese banks from stable to negative, including China Construction Bank, Agricultural Bank, and Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. These are, the largest state-owned banks of China. I think the outlook of Chinese banks are much more pessimistic than what's being recognized by these international financial rating agencies. I say that because credit fraud, which exists in every country, has become systemic in China, and the pervasiveness of loan scams is unique to China, and the current state of lawlessness and economic hardship will only exacerbate the problem and accelerate the time bomb of a banking crisis. What I want to tell you about is this hidden banking crisis brought about by a group of um, what do you say? A group of debtors who earn money by breaching trust, and they are called professional debt bearers or professional debtors. So who are they? So what is a professional debt bearer or a professional debtor? They're a mouthful to say. I don't even have a cup of water here. Anyways, it's empty. Lei can use a sip of water. Anyways, so who are they? Well, simply put, it's someone who specializes in taking on debt for other people with the intention to default. So people in this profession can live, um, they can live for free. I mean, they can live with all expenses paid by their agent, and then at the end of that, get a one-time sum of money, a sum of cash, actually. And the amount ranges from hundreds of thousands yuan to millions of yuan. So in US dollars, uh, it could be from tens of thousands of dollars to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the size of the loan taken out under their name. The larger the amount, the more they get. And the price they pay for doing the job is being blacklisted by banks as in having bad credit and not being able to borrow money for the rest of their life. However, China's credit system isn't really based on trust. So, in a country without rule of law, having bad credit um, isn't really that bad, or isn't bad for everyone. So we know Chinese economy has been declining and the real estate market is on life support. Many homeowners who have emptied their pockets to invest in real estate are struggling to make mortgage payments. So this gives the professional debtors a chance to come in and make money um, off of the situation. So let me give an example. So how did this work? So say you are a Chinese homeowner who bought a property, let's say a few years ago, at 2 million yuan, and you took out a mortgage of one. You put down 20% down payment. That's 400,000 yuan, and you took out a mortgage of 1.6 million yuan. And after a few years of mortgage payments, you still owe the bank 1.5 million. Now you lost your job and you cannot afford the mortgage payments. So you want to sell the property, right? I mean, in the West, when you cannot afford to own a home, then you sell the property at market price. Hopefully, you could get some money back. But in China, you can't, because the price of secondhand real estate market um, is regulated by the government, and that the price is set too high. So not a lot of people are interested in it, especially in the second or third tier cities. So you can't really sell it. The or you cannot sell it at the price that you want. The homeowner doesn't have a lot of option. So in a nutshell, he has two options. The first is to default on the mortgage, and wait for the bank to sue you, and then the court will auction the property, and the starting bid is at 70% of the property value. If it fails to sell at the auction, which happens often, quite often, it will be discounted again by another 30%. So basically, the property is usually sold for less than half of its value at these auctions. So let's say the homeowner sold it for 1 million, um, but the but that's not enough. The 1 million is not enough to pay off the mortgage, which is at 1.5 million. And he's also responsible for the legal fee of 100,000 yuan that the bank imposes on him. So his total loss, right, is he's short by 600,000. So he still owes the bank 600,000 yuan, even though, the bank, auctions off his property. And another consequences is the individual will end up on the credit blacklist. And being on Chinese credit blacklist means that the person cannot fly on airplanes or ride on high-speed rails, nor will he be able to borrow money from banks. Now, out of despair, this homeowner meets an agent um, on behalf of a professional debt bearer. And the agent proposed to the homeowner to offer to buy his property at full price. That's 2 million. And the new owner will put down to 400,000 as the down payment, and then take out a loan from the bank for 1.6 million. Basically, exactly the same thing that he did years ago. And then they offer to give the homeowner 1.3 million to pay off the bank. So the homeowner only needs to come up with another 200,000 yuan to pay back the bank. So his loss, or the amount that he needs to give to the bank, is reduced from 600,000 to 200,000. And the most important thing is he doesn't get blacklisted by the bank. In other words, he pays the bank. All he has to do is pays the bank another 200,000, and then gets good credit standing. He lost his home, or he will lose his home, but he can start all over again when he finds a job, or at least his life can has a chance to go to be back on track. So I did this financial comparison. So if you look at, so this is a quick financial comparison, foreclosure versus a home bearer. You see how the difference is $600,000 in the red versus 200,000 yuan. Sorry, did I say dollars? That's yuan. 600,000 versus 200,000 in the red. See, the difference is you see how I mean, if the court auctions the property, it's only 1 million, right? Proceeds from sales. And this guy offers to pay 2 million. But the difference is the fee. Basically, the person who offers 2 million is only giving him 1.3 million. The other 700,000 um, is kept by the person. So basically, what this debt bearer do is what he does. This debt professional debtor does is he takes out a loan from the bank and does not intend to pay the bank the mortgage at all. So he takes the money, give half to the seller, take his down payment back. So he takes the 400,000 down payment back, and then keeps half of this 600,000. So basically, the professional debtor makes 300,000 yuan in this deal, and so he makes money, and the homeowner's problem is reduced from 600,000 to 200,000, and also he avoids being blacklisted. Now, the party that has a loss, that incurs a loss in this case, is the bank, right? So that's kind of a quick summary of the financials behind these deals. Now, the person who now owns this property obviously choose to default on the mortgage. And this is typically someone who doesn't mind never riding on a high-speed rail or flying in an airplane. And this person can choose to live in rural China, and then with that 300,000 yuan in his pocket. So that's a common theme that has occurred in China, where you have these teams of professional people who represent these professional debtors who are approaching homeowners who are in a defaulting situation, and this is happening in China. Now, let's talk about those individuals. Who are the individuals who are willing to take on the debt for others? They're usually people who live at the bottom of social strata, and they make a monthly income of 2,000 or 3,000 yuan, and they might have lost their job and are in need of some money urgently. So if someone tells them, we now have an opportunity for you to make hundreds of thousands of yuan, and potentially even more, and it could be in the millions, and the price you pay is to be blacklisted by banks and not being able to borrow money and not being able to fly on an airplane or take high-speed rail. Are you willing to do it? Well, many people are willing to do it in China, because these people usually live in rural areas anyways, and they're not concerned with traveling to faraway places. And hundreds of thousands of yuan cash is very appealing, as they may never make that much money in life. So I just talked about the demand and then the supply, right? The demand and then the supply. But it's still hard to believe. So you may have the question, how how can the poor people from rural China who don't have a lot of assets qualify to take out large amounts of loans? Because in the US, they don't qualify, right? That brings us to the next point, I mean, the next subject, which is we need to talk about the most important party in this transaction, the broker or the middleman. So the broker is someone who's familiar with the real estate market and bank loan application process for sure. Um, he or she also has good connections in the banks. He recruits people who are urgently in need of money and but have no bad credit history, right? So he is looking for people who need money, but who have, okay credit history. Once someone is willing to be a debt bearer, the agent will need some time to groom the individual financially, so the person looks good on paper to apply for a loan. Now, with the CCP pushing more policies to encourage banks to issue loans to people to buy real estate, these agents have more space to operate their professional debtor business. And their business includes buying brand new properties um, that the local government desperately promotes. Um, their business has the business scope has expanded from targeting the homeowners who are in a default situation to buying brand new homes using the same scheme, with the sole purpose of making money and by defaulting on these bank loans. So let me give you an example. And this example is very well detailed in a February 2nd article by a Chinese media that's called Times Magazine. Yes, there's a Chinese Times Magazine. And it gave a story of a 28-year-old man by the name of Xu, from a small town in Midwest China, not Midwest US, but Midwest China. And this man made 2 million yuan in 3 months. So Xu told the reporter, when he met the reporters, he actually showed the 2 million yuan cash on table, because they're real cash. And he said that in the beginning, it wasn't easy for him to make the decision to do this because he felt like it was a gamble. He even consulted a lawyer. But the lawyer told him that the current system, Chinese system, couldn't really do much to him if he defaults. So the lawyer's words encouraged him to take the gamble. After getting connected with his agent, he arrived at the place, which is quite far from his home, and he met his agent. By the way, these agents study local government policies and local real estate market, and they pick the ones that are easy for them to get mortgages, right? So they don't, and then they also they also try to match their targets, these debtors. They try to match the profile of these debtors with the right market and the right bank. So this agent brought Xu to a 3-bedroom apartment in downtown. And Mr. Xu met 2 other men who were also who were doing the same thing as he was. One roommate was a 30-year-old man whose parents have died, and his grandmother was diagnosed with cancer and was in need of money. So he decided to make money by being a professional debtor, by taking on debts for others. And the other man is a 37-year-old man who's in the process of a divorce and was in need of money. 1 week later, the agent came with a contract, which authorized the agent to buy real estate on Xu's behalf. The agent then took his bank card and bank USB security key to prepare credit worthiness for his loan application. So basically, the agent needs to, transfer money into his account. I mean, do all kinds of things in his bank account to leave records to show that he he has good credit. So Mr. Xu saw that the agent sent money to his account in various amounts. Some were up to tens of thousands of yuan. Some were even up to hundreds of thousands of yuan. So there were, transactions in his account. By the way, this process can take between 2 to 6 months. During that time, Mr. Xu stayed in the apartment, eating and sleeping most of the time, and he did not go elsewhere. The agent came every couple of days, bringing some daily necessities to him because he really didn't go out, didn't go anywhere, and also cash for him, ranging from hundreds to thousands of yuan every time, so he could buy food and, have an enjoyable time in the apartment. His bank account continued to receive money, and sometime later, finally, when this is done, he was given a real estate contract to sign. Basically, it was a brand new home that the local government was trying to push for people to buy. So Mr. Xu thus became a homeowner. He never saw the property, but obtained the deed or the paperwork. I mean, I don't know if it's called a deed in China, but basically paperwork that shows that he was indeed the owner. Now, the home is roughly valued at 5 million yuan. The agent helped him pay the down payment at 1.5 million yuan and helped him obtain a mortgage of 3.5 million. So this entire 5 million went to the developer, right? The real estate developer. And Mr. Xu and his agent haven't made any money from that 5 million. I mean, they have not made any money yet. What happens next is crucial. So now he's a homeowner and using the new home as a collateral and taking advantage of all these great policies that encourage people to take out loans, Mr. Xu took out more loans from other banks, such as a loan for remodeling, loan for consumption, maybe home furnishing. He also took out a credit card loan. So with the help of the agent, he took out loans that totaled 6 million by using his 5 million home as a collateral. Now, this 6 million was real cash to him, right? And he got 40% of that 6 million. That's his 2 million. The other 60% went to the agent and those who worked with him on his side. Usually, there are bank employees who approve loans. So the article said that the second round of financing, the second round of loan application is usually divided 3 ways. The debt bearer gets 30 to 40%. The agent gets 20 to 30%. And the other parties, meaning those work inside banks, get 30 to 40%. So now you see in this real estate transaction of 5 million yuan, the total loan amount reached 9.5 million. The developer got the down payment and the initial mortgage of 3.5, but the remaining 6 million was entirely pocketed by individuals with no intention of repayment. Right? So that 6 million is total loss to the bank. And the irony is, during the entire process, no one was interested in the real estate property. Mr. Xu was not interested. The agent was not interested. No one was interested in the property they bought. It was only a vehicle. The property was only a vehicle to decipher money from the bank or banks. So from the local government to the developer, to the home buyer, And to their agents, everyone did pretty well except the bank or the banks. And this is the biggest reason why the Chinese is so addicted to real estate market. And this is also the biggest risk of Chinese banks. 3 days after Mr. Xu got the money, he flew home. He texted his agent after landing and said that he landed and he was okay. The agent replied, "Stay low key and do not show off your money." And after texting that, the agent removed him from his contact, and the two remained like strangers on social media. This was probably Mr. Xu's last time to travel by airplane. After returning home, um, he he needs to put the cash into other people's account or hide it somewhere. He was planning. He was pretty actually, according to the article, he was actually pretty excited about having all of a sudden having 2 million. That was uh, a quick money earned in 3 months, and he was planning to start a small business with his wife. With that money, he was planning to give some of the money to his parents. I mean, it was a good sum for him. Now, what about the mortgage? The agent advised him to pay a few months' mortgage before stopping, to at least look normal to the bank, so that he's not caught immediately. But not everyone follows that advice. Some people, according to some other articles, some people don't care and stop mortgage payment right away. So the takeaway from these stories is when real estate prices fall, although the Chinese government tries to control the losses, the risks are there and have already spread quickly. And the second thing is the CCP's policies of relaxing credit conditions and lowering mortgage thresholds did not stimulate the real estate market. Instead, it gave rise to fraud, leading to a rapid spread of toxic assets and escalating banking crisis or banking risks. And the third point is lifting restrictions on the purchase of second and third homes have given professional debtors more opportunities to operate. So when the economy is facing serious downturn and housing prices are inflated, the negative effects of these policies will escalate the banking crisis even faster. So the risks will not disappear. They will only just be shifted to different places. And that's what's happening in China. Now, such fraud isn't just listed to real estate transactions. There are also agents who help private companies offload their corporate debt to individuals. Uh, and what they do is they choose older people who don't care about being sued. Um, they choose older people to inherit the debt because they don't really care of being sued. They have nothing. Um, so um, and there are also individuals who set up fake companies to take out corporate loans only to profit. So these are all scams. China has the official data. Officially, China has 8.6 million individuals listed on the credit blacklist by the banks. Now, some of them are these professional debtors. We don't know how many, but imagine the amount of bad debt the banks have absorbed, or will have to absorb. That's an astronomical amount. Um, there are a lot of advertisements on Chinese social media looking for these professional debtors, and they use a very covert language. It was said that in some rural villages, many people in the village are in this trade because it's a quick way to make money. Um, And how do people, after they become blacklisted, some people, I mean, they don't really care about their life, but they may want to protect their children, because sometimes if the parents have bad credit uh, listing, it could affect their children's chance of going to school or finding a job. So what these people do is they get a fake divorce, right? So they get a divorce from their spouse, even though they may still be living together and they may still, love each other, but they get a fake divorce to say officially, he is not affiliated with his children. His children um, belongs to his wife or his ex-wife, even though they still live in the same household. So that's one way they do to protect their children. There are very few individuals who are well connected with the local police and the local civil service department. What they do is they obtain a death certificate to pretend that they have died. And then they obtain a new ID to start a new life, to start a new identity and a new life. So, in China, because of the law, I said in the beginning, because of this pervasive lawlessness, anything is possible. So people are not afraid. People don't care. Um, I mean, they just start all over again. Um, so I want to end my presentation by giving you some numbers. I want to show you the non-performing loan ratios for some major Chinese banks. And I think I do have, where is that? Is that, yeah. Okay. So here are a comparison of non-performing loan ratios for China Construction Bank, the Postal Savings Bank of China, and then Bank of Communications. Um, So their non-performing loan ratio in the real estate sector rose rapidly from 2022 to 2023. And as you can see, the lowest was 25%, and in the other two banks, it was, almost 70%. And then at the 2023, there's a conference. China actually has a conference dedicated to discuss non-performing assets. So it's called 2023 China Non-Performing Assets Forum. It was held in May 2023 in Beijing. There was an expert and non-performing asset expert. His name is Jiang Tao, who's also the president of a Shanghai Wenshen Asset Management. He stated in his speech that there are currently about $1.5 trillion or 10 trillion yuan non-performing assets within China's financial systems. That was May 2023. And he said by 2025, that number will double and will be expected to reach 20 trillion or 20 trillion RMB or $3 trillion. And the amount will account for 10% of the total bank loan balance in China. So that's the numbers that I could find coming from a Chinese expert that was stated publicly. So I think these numbers might have been, altered or beautified or or neutralized. The real number could be much worse than that. But I want to share with you this because I after reading these stories, and I think this is quite alarming. Um, I mean, they're not isolated cases. It's well developed, well defined. They have a whole team of professionals helping companies and individuals, getting rid of these debt problems. Um, and their solution, the solutions means tremendous banking crisis. in China. I don't think other people have talked about this in the West, so I want to bring this issue to your attention. All right, so let's see. Are people staring at my wallpaper? Is that distracting? All right, let's see. Um, I want to say during my 1 week absence, I got emails and messages from some of my viewers who showed concerns about my whereabout. I think they were concerned if I was doing well. I was so tired, packing and moving. I still live in a state of chaos because I can't find, I can't find, I think 25% of things, I can't find them. They're somewhere in the boxes. So but I thank you. I thank those of you who sent messages to me and also donated money to me during the time. I really appreciate that. It was not fun moving, but it's good. It's good because it gave me a chance to get rid of a lot of things that I don't need. And I think this is my seventh home since I left my parents' home, since I graduated from college. That's I think this is the seventh home I've had in the U.S. and I quite like it because I sort of designed it and picked the colors myself. Anyways, let's see if people have questions for me. Let me answer the super chat questions. Um, all right, Brian Cow. Well, thank you, Brian. Oh, I will provide you the links of the articles after this live stream. They're fascinating stories to read. And these are all reported by the mainland Chinese. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. Boyka China. Thank you, lovely lady. Well, thank you, boy. All right. Let's see. Okay, let me see if people have questions. Um, I'm just picking questions randomly. Uh, from Peter, your wallpaper is great. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think I'll be wearing white a lot because I don't know what to wear because it clashes with my background. Although I could flip to the other side. I'll show you the other side. I use the other side as the backdrop sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. It definitely solved the problem for me for my wardrobe. White is the new color, new power color for Lei. Alexander McKay, Lei, is there any Chinese feedback from the doping scandal? Doping scandal? Am I missing something? Which scandal are you referring to? Uh, I'm not quite sure. Let's see. Chinese are opening factories in Mexico like crazy. Yes, they are. It's been going on for at least over a year, a number of years. I almost made a video on that last year. But I wasn't sure how many people were interested in that. But there were just uh, even Vietnam. I mean, a lot of the even some of the made in Taiwan. Like I know people, like Taiwanese pharmaceutical companies that took not ingredients. I think the drugs were made in China and they just repackaging them in Taiwan and then put on the label made in Taiwan. There are Taiwanese pharmaceutical companies that did that. So yeah, it doesn't just happen to Mexico. It happens to a lot of countries, including Taiwan and Vietnam. Kurupati 2004. Lei, can you explain how China economy grew by 5.3% in their report? Why it seems the current situation is in shambles? Well, I think we should ask the Chinese government to explain how. I mean, someone did you guys realize somebody did a screenshot of the official statement announcing the 2022 GDP, and then the screenshot of the official announcement of the 2023 GDP. And they did elementary school mathematics, and the percentage is not 5.3%. I think it was 3 point something, 3.7%. So, I mean, speaking about, fabricating data, I mean, this is like so basic. This is elementary school math, and they don't even bother to check their math. So even if you go with their official narrative, it's not 5.3%, it's 3 point something. So I don't think I can explain why. I think if anything, it's negative 5.3%. They missed the negative sign in front. Charles Womack. Well, thank you for the amount. No question, just appreciation. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Not that I'm not saying that I don't love questions. I love your questions, but thank you for the donation. All right, let's see. Um, doping scandal refers to the Olympic swimmers from China who had positive tests but were allowed to compete in Tokyo. Okay, I wasn't aware of that, but I mean, it's another example to show us that China has really have infiltrated so many world organizations, including the IOC. Um, I mean, United Nations is another one. World WHO. I mean, so that's not just another example. Moonwalker. If China is dirty enough to pee in Qingdao beer, then how can we trust pharmaceuticals to be safe to use? Good question. We shouldn't. Um, this is a good question. From somebody said, Maltese. I can't pronounce your first name. Philelep? Philelep? Maltese? Tell me who's more resilient, Chinese people or US wasps? The Chinese people. They are more resilient. Um, I mean, being resilient can be both good and not good, you know. Um, I mean, the CCP, I mean, the Chinese culture emphasizes endurance and tolerance. So the Chinese people, the Chinese culture teaches Chinese people to be resilient. And then the CCP has forced the Chinese people to accept whatever the government, whatever your superior pushes down to you. So they are resilient, by that measure. But it can go either way. I think the traditional resilience is great, but the CCP type of resilience is not. All right, Martin. Okay, hi Lei. Sorry for the off-topic question, but I've seen a lot of very scary footage of holes opening up in the ground. Are mainland cities really sinking? Is this as big a problem as we are led to believe? Thank you and 加油. Well, thank you, Martin. Yeah, there's a report. Some research institute released a report, right? The worst city that has sank most is Beijing. Like in Tianjin, we've seen video, terrible pictures and videos showing the street in an entire neighborhood has like collapsed and has sunk. So people were scared. I mean, the people in these high-rise residential buildings were evacuated, but they couldn't find out the reasons why. Some suspect it has to do with the digging. There's so many underground constructions happening, um, and when the Chinese don't follow rules of when they, like I said, the lawlessness is. Is going to shut down the Chinese society. The lawlessness, the state of lawlessness plus the economic downturn, the economic hardship uh, will make these environmental issues worse. Um, so it is scary to live in China right now, in those big cities. I think rural China probably is much safer to live right now. Okay, let's see. Questions. Um, okay. Let's see. Oh, that's all. No more questions for me. Maybe I should go back. Is everyone behaving? Sumilan is asking. Is everyone behaving? I hope so. I think so. Right? No? Oh, here, Juanita Jose. Lei, could you please give us a short bio of your background and professional training? Thanks. It's on my website. I Short bio. Okay, I came here as a student, as a Chinese student. I study liberal arts with a concentration in architecture, and I worked in the financial services for quite a long time, um, being a financial analyst. And then I was in media and public relations. And yeah, and when I was, and then when I was in, and I also worked in some, what was that? Public health. I was involved in programs about public health, helping Chinese Americans to be healthy. Public health programs. So that's my background. Okay, that seems to be all. I have answered all the questions. Yes, we are behaving. You funny. It is scary living in China. What's your most trustworthy? Okay, these are not addressed to me. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining me. That's all. I need to go back to unpacking, and I'll be back this Thursday. Okay, stay well. Bye bye.